Is it on? Your attention, please. Can you help us find this man? William Ferguson is a 32-year-old Caucasian, 6 feet 4 inches tall, brown hair, closely cropped beard. It is believed Dr. Ferguson has information crucial to a police investigation.
They can hear a cloud pass overhead. They can hear your heartbeat and the rhythm of your blood. They can track you by yesterday's shadow. They can see what you do before you do it. They can tear the scream from your throat. They can give pain beyond imagination. Wolfen, there is no defense.
I am from beyond. Listen, and all you desire will be yours. Welcome to Spider-Dan and the Secret Balls. Prepare for Prattle.
Secret Ball Stories. Welcome to Prattle World. I am your host, the ever-amazing, ever-spectacular Spider-Dan. And in this podcast, I spotlight entertainment's best-kept secrets that a mainstream audience may find boring. And welcome to Secret Ball Stories, where I invite guests to count down a personal top 5 list in high-fidelity fashion. And we have got the one you have been waiting for. The shaggiest of top 5s, the most hirsute of top 5s. We are talking our top 5 werewolf movies or films.
Oh,
Werewolves
that
of
was the
London.
worst werewolf I've ever done.
Oh, you just sounded like you stubbed your toe, Dennis.
I'm only a puppy.
You're a young pup. You are at the ripe old age of 30, 50, 40,
Yeah, something like that.
112
Yeah,
years
I
old.
feel like that today.
You're
actually.
ancient. You're cursed.
I am.
Burdened with this life.
Very tired.
Much like a werewolf. But we are here to talk top 5 werewolf movies. This has been one in the planning. Many of you have seen my research that I've been posting as well just before Christmas. So we are here to finally do it. But we're not going to talk the more obvious ones.
No.
We're not going to talk your American Werewolf in London.
Nope.
Your Ginger Snaps. Your Dog Soldiers. Your Howlings. We're going to talk some more on the, you know how we do it here. We go a bit deeper, we do a bit more research, we dig up those obscure gems. And to be fair, there's a lot of shit werewolves movies out there, and I've watched some of them. And Dennis has probably watched more than me.
Yeah, there are some shit. There are some really bad ones.
Did you come across any during your research?
Oh, loads. Too many to mention. It's really upsetting because, movies seem to get the vampire stuff quite well.
Yeah, pretty good.
You know, and a werewolf isn't that much different. A bit of fur, and the squirt a pack of a band, and you're ready to go.
It does seem to be the main. I think the main issue is obviously the effects, either special or practical. That seems to be the one main key element that. Because again, like there's a lot of werewolf films where you only see a werewolf for a brief minute right at the end. Like they've kept you all this time. Like you better show me this werewolf that's in the title.
Howling 2?
They're just all, and it's just like, oh, that was disappointing. But I think that's the main issue: is that can you afford the practical or the special effects to make it?
If you can't, you shouldn't start it.
Absolutely, I agree. If you don't think you can do it well, don't fucking bother.
Don't do it.
Don't even bother. But we have picked out some really, really fun ones, and I have got probably the most comments I've had from listeners about any subject I've ever done. I think we've got 7 or 8 comments on people's top 5 werewolf films.
Because Lycans aren't something what people do a lot of, werewolf movies.
Yeah, you can either like them or not like them.
You're such a dick.
You're a like cunt, you are.
How dare you?
Shut up.
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, Dennis. This is the first podcast of 2022. This is literally New Year's Day. Me and Dennis was hanging out last night on New Year's Eve, but just didn't occur, didn't happen. But it's come by today, and I thought, well, we're here. We've done the research. We're ready. fuck it, let's just fucking go for it. Let's go
Do
for
it.
it. So, Dennis, when it
Yes.
comes to werewolf films, you're obviously a big fan. We talked about Werewolf by Night and other
Yep.
various werewolf adjacent stuff.
Yes.
I've covered Ginger Snaps with some friends as well on the podcast. But what is it about werewolf movies, lycanthropic movies, that really grab you and make you enjoy them?
I like the kind of dual personality type thing, because not all of them, quite a lot of them embrace the werewolf side. Some people don't.
No.
I like.
Do you embrace yours?
I try to.
Yeah, you can't help for shit though.
Every Thursday.
Every Thursday, when the moon is full.
When the moon is full and I put my high heel shoes on. Anyway, and I like transformation. It done well. The good stories, and there are a lot of them which have done well, and there's a lot of interpretations of them as well. Like with vampires, basically there are teeth, sexy, I'm better than you, kind of long haired, beautiful, bit like myself,
Shine in the sun.
Yeah, shine in the sun. With werewolves, there's this animal side, I think. There's always that kind of
unpredictability.
Yeah.
I always see it as kind of like that's man's inner savageness comes out in that form. It's like we all have to kind of rein in the beast. I know you do a lot of when you have conversations with people you don't particularly like. You have to kind of rein that beast right in. And I know there's times where I've had to do it and go, no, I would like to do it. And, you could even imagine stuff and play that in your mind. Like, what if I just punched my interviewer in the face today? What would happen? I don't particularly not like him, but, why not? What if?
Exactly. And I also think with the werewolf movies, like you just touched on, they're either good or absolutely shite.
Garbage, yeah.
Like, even really poor vampire movies, they kind of can pull it off because of the effects.
Well, you just need to be a bit pale and have pointed teeth, don't you? That's easy.
Which is
it's
pretty
easy
much
enough
the
to
whole
do.
of Manchester.
True, that is true. Pale complexion.
Oldham. They're almost blue there, aren't they?
Grey. Just a grey field of people. It's like Dawn of the Dead over there.
There's no problem
especially in that shopping centre your comic shop used to be right next to.
That was more kind of webbed feet though.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that was more kind of Gilman.
It was kind of like it's like it was like that scene in RoboCop where he's like, kill me. It's like that in Oldham. So that's the only reason I used to go, is just to see you. Any other reason to go to Oldham? No offense to Oldham, but no.
I can't add anything.
Yeah, you can't defend it.
No. I remember trying to defend Rochdale once when someone came in. I was like, what? I can't be asked.
Yeah, it's too much effort.
It's like the same with the two sides of the same coin, isn't it? But anyway.
Anyway, we do digress. But yeah, so I've always loved the practical effects in werewolf movies from 80s, 90s, and even up to like Underworld and things like that. I've always really dug that. I like all the different variations of the werewolf design. Like I like some kind of the hairless ones, some of the more skinny and more kind of weak-looking ones, and the massive hulking bruises you get as well. Like the Howling's got those big pointy ears. I love. There's so much to enjoy about a good design, be it CGI, be it practical,
and the very minimal ones as well.
Yeah, some of the minimal ones really work, and I think we're gonna touch on that as well in some of our choices. But yeah, I've always enjoyed the idea and the aspect and that playing. Like I always like the idea that the mind is slowly kind of degrading. Like either out of the pressure and that was our main issue with Werewolf by Night, was that it didn't feel like a curse, or he didn't carry it that burden like it is a burden.
He didn't give a shit.
He didn't give two shits. It was like let's go to a ski resort and accidentally almost kill a child. Anyway, it's fine. Werewolf by Night, woo,
it's fine.
Anyway, but yeah, I need to feel like it's a burden, and that they're either losing their minds because of the burden, and it's just making them go psychotic, or that the wolf is taking over. Like
they're enjoying it.
Yeah, or they're getting a thrill out of it, the hunt and the
strength, the power.
Yeah, the
being able to lick your own balls.
I mean that's handy. That is handy, and run at top speeds and stuff.
Yeah,
I love that. But I think it is time anyway to get started, Dennis. We've talked about enough stuff, so I'd like you to go first. So, what is number 5 of your top 5 werewolf movies?
It will be Werewolf of London.
Oh,
so this is 1935. It's not the first werewolf kind of movie.
No,
there were a few silent ones, a few lost movies. But for me, it's kind of the first werewolf movie because you have prosthetics on the face, you have a single shot change in it. The story is really poor, and he wears a coat and hat, which I absolutely love. So the basic premise of the movie is the guy's into plants, goes to Tibet to find this plant that only grows in moonlight, which I quite like, quite a concept.
Yeah, a bit different.
And while he's there, he's bitten by some strange something. It's not a wolf. It doesn't exactly explain what it is.
No.
So he comes back to London, throws these parties, talks about plants, and one of the professors who was over at Tibet comes and warns him, you will, at the night of the moon, grow fangs, lick your balls, just after women. Ow. Whoa. And he's like, oh, don't be silly. It'll be absolutely fine. It'll be fine. Now, this movie is only 72 minutes long.
Okay.
It's really strange because the first 20 minutes is quite slow. It's character driven. Also because the effects aren't magnificent. And even though I do love the single shot, which I'll talk about in a second, it's very much, you get to know all the characters very well. The kind of why they're doing what they're doing, love interests, what this professor... I'm not giving too much because I want people to watch it.
Yeah, sure.
What the professor's kind of into.
I imagine it's on YouTube, probably, one of these, or... maybe. They've been so old, maybe.
I bought it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And also it's a Universal movie, but it's not kind of put in with the Universal monsters.
Okay.
Which I think is a bit of a shame because you obviously have the Lon Chaney, I think it was 1940s when he was the Wolfman. But it has the same similar tropes. What we believe now to be kind of our werewolf kind of lore came from Werewolf of London and the Wolfman.
Yeah.
The
classic werewolf tropes, the classic werewolf character, the myth, the legend, the Wolfsbane, the silver, all that sort of stuff. The bite.
Yeah, and the transformation, bearing in mind this is the 30s, basically he's walking down changing, and as he walks past a post, more fur, teeth, and it's very minimalistic. If you think of Jack Nicholson in Wolf,
sure,
it's very much like that. So you see his features, which is good because he is fighting against it a little bit as well. He wants to he likes it but doesn't. But the hunger that he needs. So for him to go out and blend in, he puts a cape on and a hat and goes out into London.
It almost sounds a bit more like a Jekyll and Hyde type film, given into that bestial side.
Yeah,
but then still dressing like a gentleman.
Yeah, and he talks in it as well.
Yeah,
it's kind of a bit like Beauty and the Beast and Kong again. True love, same as in Wolfman. It is true love that will eventually bring the downfall of the beast. Like the special effects are done by Jack Pierce, who's basically Universal's...
Oh, the guy, yeah, he was the guy.
Yeah, he did Frankenstein, Wolfman, did them all. And you can see how he changes the style of the wolf as he goes through to Wolfman.
Sure.
And it is a short movie, and it's I think it's beautifully shot. I'm not sure whether it was actually filmed in London or a backlot somewhere because I'm pretty sure a lot of the stages shake when they're shutting doors and things.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. I didn't do my research good enough. I do apologise.
My flat does that anyway if you close the doors too hard. So I'm at the top of the building, so it's a bit wobbly here.
But as from like the first, I would say the first real wolfman. I think it's an absolute triumph, and I think it's a shame that it's not
heralded more.
Yeah, and put in with Wolfman.
Yeah, it's strange that it seems to be left out. Obviously, the classic Universal monsters cycle, because it did have a couple of cycles.
Yeah.
That is included. I've seen it, and I've seen the Wolfman. I've not seen Werewolf of London, which I would like to give a go. But it sounds like it sounds like it's not the classic version of that people would gravitate towards. Not the torn clothes. There's not that kind of aspect to it. Like I said, it does sound like a Jekyll and Hyde movie.
It's very much. He's very much a very intelligent man. He's trying to breed these plants.
Yeah.
The plants. I don't want to give too much away, but they're actually the reason why he's the way he is as well. So he wants to get the plants to kind of cure him.
Okay.
But I love it. Yeah. I think, and you see the wolf a lot in it. They don't hide away from it, even though the effects aren't great.
Yeah.
And I imagine, sitting in the cinema in the 1930s and seeing this transformation, similar to like the Jekyll and Hyde transformation, and
must have been amazing.
Yeah, lots of other things, but it also lands into kind of the same sort of stuff as the Jekyll and Hyde, and other various Universal movies that aren't really kind of renowned. Even you've got Phantom of the Opera, which is classed as a Universal movie, which came out before this one.
It's a silent one.
Yeah. Which is weird. I don't know whether I don't know, but I like it. It's a short movie. It's black and white, and I would encourage people to watch it just so you can see the makeup and say, "Oh look, Jack Nicholson copied that later on."
Yeah, well,
it's pretty much the same.
Yeah, it's very minimal. I think, like you said, I think you've said it off the recording that you don't want to lose your actor in all that makeup. Sometimes, like as good as it is, you still want that. You still need the eyes to tell the story and the facial expressions and everything. And if you just slop on a load of crap, then you can lose that performance.
And you're very much in the genre as well of the first talkies. You're still getting that overacting like we had in Dracula.
The theatrical.
Like that. Yeah. And if you covered the guy in makeup, you're going to lose those expressions.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And even this bit of sadness behind the eyes, which you wouldn't get otherwise.
Yeah.
So you need that so he can do the acting through it.
I always, and again, that's another thing I want with a werewolf film. I want that inherent tragedy, the curse, and everything to come through. Like for me, like the perfect Hulk film is the Edward Norton film. I know a lot of people don't like it; it's not really well received, but it does everything I want a Hulk film to do. It has everything in it. My favorite interpretation of that character is within that film. But yeah, I absolutely agree. I think historically this seems to be a very significant film and a very important film in this whole genre.
Yeah, like it's not the first werewolf movie. There are a few.
Yeah.
There are a few silent ones, a couple of lost ones, and there's a couple which are called werewolf movies, but they're really pretty much a man thinking he's a wolf and going insane.
Yeah, there was a few of those in my research that I was like, well, that doesn't actually count.
A couple of French ones. But this to me is the first, for me, man-wolf, werewolf. He stands on his 2 feet, he's got his little paws and this, that and the other, and a jacket.
And a stylish jacket.
You need
Best dressed werewolf award goes
like,
to
Sherlock Holmes, like a little cape type jacket. Yeah,
top hat, tails.
It's great.
Cane, lovely little cane.
And we did say at the beginning we're going to highlight movies that people perhaps haven't seen. I don't think many people have seen this one.
No, again, I think you're right. I think everyone goes back to the Lon Chaney. Goes back to Lon Chaney Jr., goes back to the Wolfman. Because, again, I haven't seen this. I've seen the Lon Chaney one, but even then, that was quite recently. But yeah, no, I agree. Great choice. I think, historically, like you said, very important, and people should go out and watch it, and I will as well.
And it predates Dracula by, I think it's 3 years.
There you go. Screw you, Dracula.
Yeah.
Wolf
Screw
boy.
you, Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, Bela Lugosi. Who do you think you are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't even have fangs.
You weren't even the Spanish version of that film. You were rubbish.
There were no nipples.
There was no nipples. Right. Well, I'm gonna jump ahead quite some time with my number 5. My number 5 is Wildling from 2018, written and directed by Fritz Bohm and Florian Eder, starring Brad Dourif and Liv Tyler. I covered Ginger Snaps recently in the last couple of years for Halloween. I absolutely love Ginger Snaps. I think it's great. I think it marries the kind of she-wolf, female werewolf idea with the growing and becoming of a young woman, obviously, the puberty in that respect. And this film kind of has a very similar idea. Brad Dourif is a wildling hunter, so there's this race of kind of werewolves that he hunts and kills, and he manages to kill the last one. However, he finds a little infant baby wildling, and instead of killing it, adopts it and tries to raise it as his own daughter. So he locks her away in this room, chains her up, tells her bedtime stories about the wildlings and the history, and without actually telling her that she is one. And eventually she starts to mature into her teenage years, and he starts giving her these injections to basically slow down her maturity, to stop her from gaining all her abilities and transforming into a wildling. She starts to basically die because of these injections, and he feels guilty, he feels horrible, shoots himself in the head, and the police find her. she's still alive. They save her. They realise what's been going on. They're not sure why it's been going on, but they're aware. Brad Dourif is in the hospital with a hole in his head, but he is alive. And she is basically adopted by Liv Tyler's policewoman character, and she starts to try and... Well, she's never been to the outside world, so this is a whole new world for her. It's scary. It's, and all the obstacles and problems she faces as a young teenage girl somewhat relate to the whole lycanthropy thing as well. So she's, growing hair in strange places. She's having periods that she wasn't previously having. She has to have all that explained to her. She has feelings for boys. She, has a good sense of smell. Her teeth start falling out. And then these big sharp spiky ones come through. The canines come through. But she's dealing with bitchy girls at high school. She's dealing with potential rapists, teenage boys and stuff. And it's basically like an accelerated kind of... It's all the growth is accelerated. Because
it's like a growth coming-of-age story.
Yeah, it's like a growth spurt, but it's like a coming-of-age story on steroids. And it just goes... It's like within a few months, she's like almost like, a fully-fledged woman, wildling going on. The performances are really good. Brad Dourif is great in it, as usual. Liv Tyler is really good as well, and this mothering policewoman figure who is like... finds out that she's murdered someone like accidentally because he tried to rape her and she's just gone and killed him. And kind of the story goes on from there. I don't want to spoil it too much, but there's some great action, some great grounded performances. And the main girl, whose name is Belle Powley, she is fantastic. And she's got these big, expressive, beautiful blue eyes. And you feel so sorry for her, but then you're also like a little bit afraid of her because she's releasing her, like this womanhood is coming home to roost. And it
sounds like the relationship I have in my life. I love her, but I'm also
terrified.
very scared of her.
But no, it's really good. It's a really nice story. It's kind of a bit more kind of PG-13-esque, and I think it's aimed at more kind of teenagers and stuff. I think it's more like a 15 maybe. I think the violence is just enough where you can probably get away with it. But it's a really nice story. The Belle Powley, who was playing the main character, is actually a vegetarian, but on screen she eats all the raw meat and stuff, and it's like gets really stuck in. And you've got to respect that as in the form of an actor doing that kind of role, doing that kind of I guess method acting, if you want to put it that way, even though I'm not really a fan of method acting, fair play to her. But it's got a lot of action in, it's got a lot of horror elements, a lot of kind of nature and kind of teenage high school elements and coming of age story, like I said. But I really enjoyed it, bloody loved it, love the actors in it. And I think the younger actors are supported by the more kind of experienced actors. I think it balances really well. Great fun, great story. And again, it's not necessarily Ginger Snaps, but if you like that kind of story, this is a film that I think you might get something out of. If you don't fully enjoy it, or if there's something that's not quite... It's not Ginger Snaps, it never will be. Yeah. But if you're looking for that kind of story, this is the one for you. So check out 2018's The Wildling.
The Wildling, excellent.
Yeah. So what's up next for you, Dennis?
Well, I'm doing mine in kind of date order.
Okay.
So my next one is 1975, Legend of the Werewolf.
Okay.
Before I get into this,
here we go.
I recommended it. You will have heard this because he brings it up all the time.
It's definitely been on the podcast.
Yes,
I think.
I recommended a Hammer movie to my good friend and my life partner Dan.
Yes.
About
Curse of the Werewolf.
Curse the Werewolf. Unknowing to me that what I really meant to say was Legend of the Werewolf.
Oh no, a similarly titled werewolf film. I don't know how you manage that.
This one is considerably better. Considerably better.
Okay, good.
Peter Cushing in it.
Good start. Off to a good start.
And it's filmed by a little known company. I think it's Tyburn Films.
Okay.
Who wanted to make movies in the model of Hammer. See? That's how I got mixed.
Right, okay. It's got Cushing in it. They're doing it in the style of Hammer. I get it.
It's also written by the same person who wrote Curse of the Werewolf.
No way.
Yes. So,
and even the wolf looks the same, doesn't it? It looks similar.
It's
very
a blonde,
similar.
white
wolf.
And it also has a similar kind of like lore around it. Basically, a family in Romania have a little baby. On Christmas Eve, the family are slaughtered by a pack of wolves. Because apparently Christmas Eve is when the wolves are I don't know, hungry.
Yeah.
But they don't kill the child. They look after the child.
Like a Romulus and Remus type thing.
The child becomes a wild child.
A wildling.
Could be. And gets picked up by like a travelling carnival.
As you do.
Yeah, you know, like with the
freak show type
yeah,
thing.
beaded water. I was trying to not use the word freak.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, that's what they were. That's what they called in the olden days. We wouldn't have them now.
Okay, freak show.
Okay.
And he grows up while he's in this freak show. Obviously, it's called the Wolf Boy,
Of course.
and then as he gets older, his werewolf side starts coming out. As much as I like this movie, I don't know how being brought up by a pack of wolves turns you into a werewolf.
Well, I remember the Curse of the Werewolf. They did have the whole, if you're born on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, that is what makes you a werewolf. That was the conceit of that film. So I don't know if maybe he's carried it over a little bit.
Maybe. The main character, I can't pronounce his name because it's Romanian struck French.
That guy.
Yeah. They go to France. Oh, but they get to France, he turns into a wolf and kills one of the travelling circusy type people.
Yeah, sure.
But you don't see the wolf a lot in this. It's a lot of his POV, and it's in red. So whenever it's through the wolf's eyes, everything's red, which I quite like. I think it's quite stylish. So when they go end up in Paris, the young man falls in love with Christine, who's an erotic dancer come lady of the night, sex worker.
You had to put cum in there, didn't you, as well?
Yeah, well, I didn't call her a prostitute. I called her a sex worker.
Oh, you're so politically correct, Dennis.
I'm great, man.
Not like me in my freak shows.
I get warned all the time that I need to watch what I'm saying.
Not by me.
No, not by you. So this kind of he doesn't know that she's a lady of the night sort of stuff, and he witnesses this guy with her in the brothel, and he goes mad, breaks through, and does all that stuff.
Okay,
and then the movie then starts moving faster, unlike Curse of the Werewolf, where it doesn't ever move faster,
right?
Apart from like 2 minutes at the end.
Yeah.
But all intents and purposes, it's a Hammer movie. You know, it's got the same art direction, same art director, same writer, a director who had worked on Hammer movies. You have Peter Cushing in there. You have a lot of the same...
What does Peter Cushing... What is his role?
I'll get there in a second.
Oh, sorry, okay.
So it's shot like Hammer movie. You've got those kind of dark streets with like all the mist and things. Peter Cushing's role in it, he's not a policeman.
Okay.
He's a pathologist. And he puts together the victims with animal attacks. So the guy's now living in a zoo, which has a little trapdoor so we can get rid of it. Gets on really well with the wolves. But Peter Cushing's kind of character is like trying to convince the police that it's an animal attack. And they go, there's no way an animal this strong. We don't have wolves in Paris or France or wherever they are anymore. We don't do that. He goes, no, it is. And he gets his skull out and says, look, bite marks the same. Anyway, shows the teeth and no one believes him. So Mr. Cushing takes upon himself to make some silver bullets.
Oh, okay.
He works out that how the wolf is moving around is through the sewer system. Which again is quite cool. I quite like that. And there is a really nice scene between Cushing and the wolf where Cushing's trying to reason with him and talk to him. And again, a bit like what we said before, you see a little bit of the kind of sadness in the wolf. Because as much as he's got more makeup on, you still see the eyes, you've still got a bit of human there around, and you see the sadness, but the wildness takes over. It comes to an inevitable end. But I like it mainly because I think the POV aspect of it in 1975 and having it all red gives it a kind of bit more stylish. You know, they've looked at the fact that wolves don't see in colour, so red. So that's that distinguishes what you're looking at, wolf, human type thing. The gore is ramped up as well. Yeah, it's like a classic Hammer movie. Throats being ripped out, lots of biting and stuff. So the gore's really good in it. The wolf design is just basically Oliver Reed.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's basically the same. He even has the white shirt,
Yeah, there you go.
But the guy who plays it is much taller, so he looks a bit more of a beastie type thing. It didn't do very well at the cinema. It didn't do very well on video. It found an audience through late night television.
That makes sense,
and it's kind of become like a bit of a cult wolf kind of movie.
Okay.
And from what I've done my research, a lot of people get confused with the Hammer movie.
Yeah, I can see why though. Like you've said,
it's not even an Abacus movie. It's a completely different company. Bless Peter Cushing. He does look like he's knocking on heaven's door in it. He's very gaunt. He's very old. He's.
It wasn't that long past that. Was it like mid-80s, early 80s? I think.
Yeah, he was doing the best he can.
Yeah, wife was gone at this point, I think, as well.
Yeah, died of a broken heart sort of thing. So, the effects are good in it. I like the transformation's a bit odd, but I'm not going to say why.
Yeah.
But you also get a bit of strength with him as well. You like pull some bars across. So he's like a hulking.
I think that's in Curse of the Werewolf as well.
Done far better here.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I absolutely believe you because it was not very good.
Because for one, the bars don't do that wobble.
They did wobble
when they're doing it. So
not only was there wobbly bars, wobbly acting, wobbly everything.
It's just wobbly everything. But I watched this movie when I was probably about 10. On a marathon at Halloween, like you used to have, and it was, I loved it. So it's not Curse of the Werewolf.
Right. It is The Legend of the Werewolf.
Leg end of the Werewolf. It's not Hammer, so don't Google Hammer.
It's not going to come up.
If you Google Peter Cushing, it will do.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Legend of the Werewolf, it's a far better movie, and I can only apologise to Dan for making him sit through.
So you should.
Curse the Werewolf. I didn't even sit through it the second time.
There you go. That's how bad it is.
I turned it off.
It was more of a Marquis de Sade movie, if anything. But anyway.
This is stylish. Yeah. It's Hammer pretty much shot that way. It's the gore is a lot more 1975, so you push the ball out a little bit more. But no, I would... It's a little known. It's widely available for free now. Give it a watch.
Right, I will. I will definitely do that.
Laughing at you.
I'm just laughing at your huge mistake that you made and forced me to watch, and I complained about it massively.
Constantly.
Well, now we know. Well, now we know that you were already wrong, so it's fine. So my next pick.
You're a bastard.
My next pick again. I think I'm going in reverse order for you because I think I'm going most recent to earlier. So the next one is Attack of the Werewolves, also known as De Lobos la Aga or La Lobos del Aga. It's also known as Game of Werewolves. It is a Spanish, low-budget Spanish film, and it is basically a kind of werewolf Shaun of the Dead. So the main character is a young writer who's written one novel, and everyone's like, yeah, he wrote one novel. You're not a novelist. He's like, well, I'll show you. So I'm going to go back home to my holiday home. I'm going to start writing the next great Spanish novel.
And self-published.
Yeah. And he goes there and he meets up with some old people. He meets his uncle and stuff. And they're like, oh, welcome back. It's good to see you. Da-da-da. Everyone's very friendly. And he's living in this big mansion and stuff that his family owns. His publishing agent turns up, who's an absolute, loser, and he's like, all right, have you written that book yet? I need some money. It's really funny. He's got this cute little dog as well as a kind of a sidekick who's amazing in the film. Great little dog actor, and I'm going to talk about that later as well. And he finds out eventually that the town has chained up a werewolf, and there's a curse that his family has visited upon the town, that if it's not cured by a certain point, if he is not fed to that werewolf, then something worse is going to happen to all the townspeople. And it's been going on for hundreds of years and stuff. And they're like, right, this is the one point in time where we have to have him and feed him to the werewolf. And he meets up with an old friend who's like this kind of lovable, kind of very much like a Nick Frost kind of character from Shaun the Dead. It's like this lovable oaf type thing. And he turns up and he's like, yeah, I knew about it, but I didn't think they'd go ahead with it or go through with it. There's a great scene where they find the werewolf, and it turns out to be a little child the child is not aged in all these years because of the curse, but when he turns into a werewolf, turns into like an adult werewolf. And the whole way of curing the curse, they're like, well, he needs to eat you, but he doesn't need to eat all of you. so he's like, they're like, okay, what do you mean? It's like, give us your little finger. And for whatever reason, they chop off the finger. I can't remember exactly, but they end up ruining it. That's it. The dog eats it instead. That was it. The dog eats it instead and keeps eating it. So they keep chopping off his fingers. They chop off like most of his fingers before the end of the film, and they're like, "We need him to eat this finger, or everyone's going to kill us anyway because of this curse." So they're going to make the kid eat you. It's really funny. It's got a lot of like dark humor, like farcical humor, and it all blends together really, really well. And you don't lose the threat of the werewolves. It's kind of more like a zombie film because what happens, spoilers, what happens is they don't manage to cure the curse on time. And the whole town turns into werewolves. And it's very rare you'll see a werewolf movie with several werewolves. So I chose this one because it's funny, it's humorous, it's an international film. It's very much up my alley. I think you'd like it as well, Dennis, a lot. I think you get a lot out of it. And it ends up with all these practical werewolves. The whole town is turned into these practical werewolves. Use red eyes, full fur body suits. Use of CGI is good as well, yet minimal, and it doesn't take away. And it's just so much fun. And again, you love these characters so much. You hope they make it out. It gets really serious, and it just blends really well together, the comedy and the horror. And I think, again, even now, it's still quite hard to do, to blend those two things together. But it's a lot of fun. There's action, there's a lot of kills and bloodshed and ridiculous kind of conversations and stuff. His grandmother comes in and starts running down werewolves and stuff. It's just a lot of fun. So that's Game of Werewolves, or Attack of the Werewolves. I rented it on iTunes as under Attack of the Werewolves. So I think that's the UK title for it, but give it a go. It's really funny. It's really fun. It's got everything you want in a kind of an Evil Dead style film as well. It's a lot. It's a big blast. And again, they don't skimp on the effects. They don't skimp on the practical. It's all really, really good. So I can't recommend that one enough. So Attack of the Werewolves.
Fabulous.
Yeah, give it a go.
You've sold it to me.
I personally loved it. I was laughing all the way through, so highly, highly recommend that one. What is your next one, Dennis?
Well, my next one's a bit of a controversial one.
Ooh.
So it's 2004, Cursed. I like the movie.
Okay.
I'm going to put that right out straight away.
It's Wes Craven, yeah?
Yeah, I like it. It's Wes Craven, allegedly. It was this movie was basically in production hell for 2 years. So they had too much interference from the production, who just happened to be Bob Weinstein. Less said about that, the better.
Yeah.
The basic premise is there's a werewolf in Los Angeles, a family get attacked, someone gets scratched. In fact, both brother and sister get scratched, may turn into a werewolf. It's written by the writer of Scream. So this is kind of like off the back of the late 90s, early 2000s kind of like teen TV shows. It's that the cast list is an who's who of like Joshua Jackson on it. You've got Skeet Ulrich, who was in it but then cut. You've got Jesse Eisenberg in it. You've got Christina Ricci.
Ricci?
Yeah, Ricci. You've got Elizabeth Thingamabobs from American Pie, boobies.
Shannon Elizabeth, is it?
That's the one, Shannon Elizabeth. She's in it. So you've got a basic plethora of all these teen people, very much like Scream. Mm-hmm. You can kind of watch.
Is it a bit tongue-in-cheek, is it?
Well, this is the problem with it. Wes Craven has gone on record by saying he was employed and given a script to do an R movie. He started to make a horror movie.
Yeah.
Lots of gore, lots of tearing. We had the amazing Rick Baker doing the special effects.
Yeah. He's the werewolf guy.
He is. And then Bob looked at some of the dailies and said it doesn't like it. He wants it more kind of teeny.
Right.
He wanted a PG-13.
Right.
And sacked Rob Baker.
Rick Baker
sacked Rick Baker, yeah.
Jesus.
And then employed 3 different companies to do some CGI. 90% of the movie is shot but the ending hasn't been shot. So there's 3 different endings. The ending that is in the movie was not shot by Wes Craven.
Right.
I don't know who shot it.
Never finished it.
We think it may... The kind of thing is it could be the editor who shot the ending. Now, the ending is a big slugfest between a wolf and... I'm not going to say who's the baddie and who isn't the baddie.
Spoiler now.
But the kind of original premise was that the baddie wasn't going to be that bad. It's going to be a tortured soul.
Right, okay.
I think the wolves are great in it. You know, I think the effects, the non-CGI effects are great. I think you get added points for the fact that one of the werewolves gives Jesse Eisenberg the finger. And that's before they've seen him as Lex Luthor. There's an undertone of sexually transmitted disease.
Okay.
In it. Which, again, is a bit different. Even though the scratch is part of why brother and sister become werewolf. There's a character in it who's becoming a werewolf because she had sex with...
Bit like Ginger Snaps, yeah.
Yeah, so there's an element of that kind of... And it's not subtle. I
got that from the finger.
Yeah, there's a party in it where Maya, some singer, is dressed as a leopard. And they always talk about, if you go with him, you're gonna get something.
Yeah.
But what they mean is you're gonna get the wolf. Whatever.
Right, I see.
So the movie's been released in several different formats.
Okay.
So I'm talking about the theatrical version.
The original.
Yeah, which is the version that most people I think have seen.
Okay.
It has been released in the States unedited. It's been released in UK unedited.
Yeah.
And it's been released in Japan under a different name with a different cover, green, unedited. But they're still missing massive scenes that Wes Craven shot. There's a scene when one of the characters dies in the lift.
Right.
And Wes Craven describes the scene of blood everywhere, head coming off, bits of arms coming off, wolf eating it, this, that, and the other. None of that's in it at all. And it's still not been added into the movie. And there is a bit of a kind of horror Zack Snyder bring back the Wes Craven cut of Cursed. Yeah. Now, I like the movie because I like Scream. And when I watched this, 2004, 2003, I was still, I'm still young. I still like this sort of stuff. Eye candy.
Yeah.
There is a bit of gore in it. The wolves are great, and you get a werewolf dog.
Nice.
Which is good. CGI because Bob sacked people.
That'll do.
And when it was released, because it was advertised in Fangora, and as being this horror movie, they showed production stills of Wes Craven's
version.
Thing. So they had all the gore in it and things. When people went to see it, that wasn't there.
Yeah.
So it bombed big style. I think it cost them, I think it was 60 million to make, and it made back 36. I like it. I think it's a good film. I think there's, obviously you can see there are issues. There's massive scenes, like pretty much half the cast were cut from it, because you had Skeet Ulrich in it.
Yeah.
You had Mandy Moore in it, Omar Epps in it. You had Heather Longencop in it. You had Corey Feldman in it. All cut. They even filmed these people in scenes. So again, it was like a who's who of these teen, like Dawson's Creek and Party of Five and that kind of stuff. All of them were cut. Some of them were cut by Wes Craven because he was made to put them in. So he'd filmed them and they went, nah,
right.
in it.
Okay.
But he maintains in all his interviews that he was employed in the script and the screenplay thing was to make
an R-rated
Scream-esque werewolf movie.
Yeah.
What came out is not his movie.
No.
So we didn't like his name put onto it. Now, if you look at it now, released, originally it was Wes Craven's The Cursed. Now it's The Cursed.
Yeah.
So there's a big legal battle. Away from that, I think the film's good. Some good kills in it. You've got a couple of werewolves in it. You've got some good set pieces. The wolves are really good. Lots of scratchy and stuff. You can see, the Baker effect because he's really good at doing stuff. But there's only like 2 or 3 shots which are his now. All the rest have been taken away and done by these other companies.
Sure.
So when the unedited version that was released, they only put 2 minutes in. and there's probably about 10% of the movie missing, which they just didn't, which nobody knows what's happening with it and stuff.
Right.
So it would change. I think the gore and stuff would change it up. But as a teeny werewolf movie that I could sit down and watch with my daughter,
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Have you seen the unedited version? The unrated? Yeah.
I've seen. I've got. I bought it from the States. The unedited version. It is a little bit more gory, and it says "fuck" a bit more.
Sure.
I think there's 3 fucks in it instead of 1. But yeah, it's I like it because I watched it before I knew anything about the controversy with it.
Yeah.
I watched it as a werewolf movie.
Sure.
And it does what we said at the beginning. It does deliver. You got the effects, got a bit of gore. You've got, transformations are cool in it. You've got antagonists who are on the nose, from like watching them bad, straight away.
You're a baddie, you.
But they also kind of have a lot of the lore from Wolfman.
Sure.
You've got the pentagram on the hand.
Yeah.
You've even got the cane with the wolf on the end.
Of course, yeah.
You've got the silver.
Yeah.
And I like those elements.
Very classic.
So, if you do watch it, and I hope you do, go into it with a very open mind that it's not
unfinished.
Yeah, and it's not aimed at somebody who loves American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
It's aimed at my 16-year-old daughter.
The Scream lovers.
Yeah, who has watched these kind of like teeny bop movies. It's like now when you look at Buffy being in Scream, Sarah Michelle Gellar in Scream, and Urban Legend, and Angel being in Valentine and stuff like that. And then so it's that kind of stuff. They come out of it and they go into these horror movies. It's very much like that. It is literally you can go through your TV guide and tick off the teen people who are in it.
Yeah.
Have that in mind.
They're all on the poster.
Yeah, they're all there. Christina's brilliant in it.
Yeah.
She's really good. Jesse...
Eisenberg, yeah. He's there.
He is who he is.
He's there.
He is who he is. Joshua Jackson's just playing his character from Dawson Creek.
Yeah, fair enough.
There's a few characters...
Pacey.
Yeah, there's a few characters I'm not going to mention, but are really good. The actual opening sequence where they're attacked by the wolf is really good. It's awesome.
Visceral.
I think it's really cool, and it's one of the ones that you kind of say, oh, that's Wes, like, you can tell.
Yeah, it's very much a Wes one.
But give it a watch. Like I said, it's not one of my top 5 wolf movies, but we're not talking about a top 5 wolf movie. No. We're talking about films that we like, which people probably haven't seen.
Exactly.
And this is one of them. I think it's a 15s over here.
Yeah.
And it was PG-13 in the States.
Okay, cool.
So give it a watch.
Very good. So check out Wes Craven's Cursed, or maybe not Wes Craven's Cursed.
Just Cursed.
Just Cursed.
It was a cursed production.
It was. Oh, good. This podcast has gone to the dogs.
Anyway. We're having a howling good time.
I hope you are wolfing it down.
Fucking hell.
Stop now.
That's the worst.
Oh, shut up. Right, anyway. My next one is, again, quite a fairly recent one. It's 2015's Howl. So, this is a UK-based werewolf film, and this feels to me like a spiritual sequel to Dog Soldiers, because it's in the UK. It's about a group of people besieged by werewolves in a very small, cramped location with seemingly no way out. And it also has Sean Pertwee in it.
Yes.
So I see it as kind of a spiritual sequel. Is it as good as Dog Soldiers? No. However, I did really enjoy it. I love a good bottle movie. I love when a group of strangers are put in a situation where they have to get along to survive or to get out of this situation, like a 12 Angry Men or, The Thing or something like that. There's no way they can escape, and they don't get on, they don't really like each other, but they're going to have to do something about it. And this is perfect one of those. It's on a train, so it's on a private train. Like, imagine your Virgin trains. It's very much like that. And it's about a young guy who's just been denied a promotion. And he's going, and he's asked by his new manager, who's a complete knob, to do the night shift. And he was like, well, no, I've just done my shift. Like, no, double shift. Off you go, you prick. And then, so he goes, and again, it is absolutely spot on. Every time I get on a train, there is every single one of these characters. They're all a bit stereotypical to begin with. You've got the kind of the sleazy businessman. You've got the old lovely old couple. You've got a nerdy Asian lad. You've got a kind of Asbo lad who's described. You've got a teenage girl who's constantly on her phone and singing to her music out loud, things like that. And they're all on that fucking train. And you've seen them, you know them. You've probably even talked to them on the train.
I wouldn't.
And it gets across that mundane 9 to 5 commuting bollocks you have to go through just in the first like 10-15 minutes. You're like, I know this is, you know, this environment, I know what I understand. Also, unlike films like Terror Train, it actually uses
the train
very well. It's cramped. It's, you know, they're besieged by werewolves on either side. People, they're trying to get in, trying to eat the people, and you know exactly where you are on the train at all times. I think it's only about 3 carriages, and they use it. And again, there's damage to the train. They've run over a deer. There's all this other stuff going on. It's really good, and the designs of the werewolves are really unique. There's a mixture of, again, I think the best werewolves for me are a mixture of CGI and practical effects. I think there is a marriage there made in heaven. I love practical effects. I like CGI when it's good, but I think the best way is to marry the two techniques together, and they come across really well. The first werewolf they see is this, like, it's basically if the Hulk was a werewolf. That's what it looks like.
They look a bit like kind of mountain people, don't they?
Yeah, like kind of like it's like a kind of a split off, like a race or a genetic offshoot or something. But they work really well, and they fall into the lore and stuff. And there's some great moments. And again, like I said, they do start off with these stereotypes, but by the end of the film, you're like, they are really multi-layered characters. Like the Asbo lad is like, you know, the posh twat is like, where's your knife? I'm sure you've got a knife. He's like, why the fuck would I carry around a knife? And he was like, again, he's just looking at him as a pure stereotype. And the geeky lad, the geeky Asian lad, ends up fucking killing one of the werewolves with an axe. And he's like, and again, you don't expect that from him. But again, it's like really well-rounded characters. So again, you kind of like, oh, well, she's going to be the bitch, and she's going to be this, and she's going to be that, and the old couple are going to be nice. But then even the old woman, who you think, oh, she'll die because she's been bitten by the wolf, she comes back and she's jumping around. She's the most agile old woman turning into a werewolf I've ever seen. It's really, really good. Again, Sean Pertwee doesn't last very long, so he's not like a main character in it. But it's a nice little kind of nod of the hat and a kind of tip of the hat to him in that film. But I think it's great. I think you can get a lot out of it. It's short and sweet. Doesn't stick around.
The pace is good.
The pace is good. The tension is good. The anticipation is there. I think it's brilliant. And
I also think, you know, budget restraints sometimes can make better movie because you have to be clever with how you shoot things.
Absolutely.
And this is why you know, people should watch it. You know, they didn't have a massive amount of money. But it's spot on. Yeah,
the acting is superb. I really think the acting is superb. It gets across. It's not just people screaming constantly, or there's arguments there's disagreements, there's alliances, there's all sorts of stuff. There's people betraying each other. It's got everything I would want in that type of movie.
And the guard's great, isn't he?
Oh, he's great.
He's just trying to keep everybody happy.
And you absolutely relate to him. If you've ever had a job like that where you're dealing with the general public, you can absolutely relate to him. And again, it's like the whole thing is he's like, oh, he's not got any balls or anything, or he's not manly enough, or he doesn't go after things. And by the end of the film, you're like, no, he is exactly who he needs to be and who he wants to be in this moment. And he, stands up, steps up, and he is the person that they all require him to be at the end. And again, I'm not going to spoil anything at all. I do quite. There's a kind of a silly jump scare early on, which I quite enjoyed, because it turns out that they forgot about one of the passengers, even though they've been like attacked by this werewolf and bitten. There's still one of them who's like passed out because he's a fucking football pisshead and he's been having a kebab. And they're like, oh, the werewolf's going to come back in. And it just turns out to be that fat fuck. And it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So yeah, check it out. It's nice to see like a modern UK horror film that is actually good as well, and it is effective and it works, and it's not cheesy or shit or something. And Howl absolutely does that. I watched it again today because I wasn't sure if it would hold up, but it absolutely does. So definitely go check out Howl from 2015. In fact, it's currently on Amazon Prime.
It is very good.
It is very good. Anything else you want to say about Howl? I know you've seen that one.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I like the designs of the wolf because the werewolves, because they're very different.
Yeah, I like I said, I sometimes like the hairless design. Yeah, I think sometimes it works.
I like him. I think he carries the movie. guard carries him. All he wants to do is chat up the woman and get home.
Yeah.
That's all he wants to do through the whole movie.
I love that bit where he asks her out and she's like, oh, well, it might be a bit too late when we finish work and all this. And she was like, good luck next time though. And he's like, oh, it was just a spare of the moment thing. And she was like, no, I meant about the job application. And he's like, oh yeah, shit. So,
but no, I think it's great. And I think the setting's fab.
It's kind of dark wolves in those woods in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, there's werewolves in the mist.
Yeah,
sort of stuff. So you see a little bit. No, I think it's great, and they tease it for a while as well. It's not fully.
Again, they build up the tension. You hear the noises, and a lot of the kills are not necessarily off screen. I'm not saying that they're all off screen kills, but there's the way they do it without really showing it is really effective. Like there's one in the toilet where he's attacked, and you just see the wolves' claws coming through the door and tearing holes in the door.
They got very big hands.
Very big hands. And you see the guys falling on there's so much blood as well. A lot of blood in this. Yeah. It's just like gushing and gushing. They're like, even the characters are like, there's so much blood. And I'm like, the bloody is. They're definitely dead. But yeah, great fun film. Great villains. Great monsters in it. Brilliant. Just fantastic. So give that one a go. Like I said, it's on Amazon Prime. Put it on now.
Exactly.
Do it now.
Okay.
What's next, Dennis?
2013's Where. W-E-R.
Where?
Werewolves, they're wolves. Werewolf, they're wolf. Where castle, their castle. Sorry. I love that scene. Why are you talking like that? You started it.
Anyway, tell us about this one.
Might run out of time. Yeah.
No, you got loads of time.
So, Where I only watched last year, because we're changed here.
Yeah.
I heard some really good things about it. It is also on Amazon Prime, and it really kind of blew me away how good it was. Low budget, filmed in Romania. That's my stomach. Filmed in Romania.
I really hope that gets picked up.
Filmed in Romania. Not a massive cast. The opening sequence is a family camping. Kid goes missing in the woods. Well, when I go missing, gets dragged into the woods.
Right, okay. Got to be more specific.
And someone gets arrested for it. He's called Talon. Doesn't speak. Gets taken into custody. And there's actress AJ Cook, who's in NCIS, blonde hair, very pretty.
Sure.
She's Katie Moore, and she's brought in. She doesn't think that he's done it.
Okay.
She interviews him. He doesn't say a lot. He's like, I think he's kind of taken with her a little bit. He sat there. So Talon's a big man. He's about 7 foot tall. He's huge. So they have these conversations, and the police say, "No, he's done it. He's a bad bastard. He's
trying to finger him.
Not
like that.
No. So you've got him. You got AJ, Kate.
Yeah.
You've got and 2 other scientists. One of them used to be a love interest.
Twist.
Yeah, while the other one isn't. But they're all kind of like fighting against each other. They look at the kind of marks on the child and the son and said, look, these like animal marks and stuff. I said, but look at him, he's not an animal. And then during this interview, it kicks off slightly. So they all run in to get hold of Talon. And within the scuffle, the love interest has a little bit of a bite. Just a tiny little bite in there. Nothing else goes on about it.
No.
So they say, right, we're going to have to do kind of like brain scans and things, see what he is and stuff. So, and it's an awesome scene. This is really, really good. They've got this big glass and they wheel Talon in and then he just goes apeshit. He goes absolutely crazy. Throwing people around, ripping them apart, pulling heads off. I mean, proper kind of very,
full on.
Yeah, he's got these massive talons. He's got teeth, which have a little bit of hair, not a lot, because he's basically a man.
Yeah.
So they all run out of like the hospital. And
he's a bit more like he's more like a superhuman.
Yeah, he jumps out of the window and kind of just lands on the ground, cool. And then off he pops, running away at high speed and things like Jesus Christ. What is he? And nobody wants to say werewolf.
No.
But as the film progresses, you don't trust the authorities. There's something that the authorities are hiding. And Talon, even though he is animalistic. And even though he is this kind of wolf man, has been antagonized to do what he's done. So the film goes on. A few people die. The other guy starts... His cut gets bigger. Starts...
Infection.
Sniffing.
Oh.
Losing hair. And there's a big kind of...
Aren't you supposed to be gaining hair?
Yep, that. You lose to gain.
Oh, I see.
So there's...
Like the teeth falling out.
Like the teeth falling out, yeah.
Sure.
So the movie is at like breakneck speed. It never lets up. I think it's only like 80 minutes, and it flies by. The action's great. Talon, I think he says about 2 words in the whole movie. He's awesome in it. He's really, really good. Spoiler, because I'm going to have to kind of spoil it a little bit.
Yeah.
So what ends up kind of happening is it's a land dispute. The government want the land that Talon's family have. So to do it, they're trying to get rid of Talon's family out of the way. The police, Kate, kind of works this out, kind of goes to Talon and says, we know what's kind of going on. Talon then gets shot and killed. But there's another wolf, isn't there? The love interest.
Oh.
So the love interest comes in, they have a bit of a squabble and stuff. He's bald now, he's very pale, he's got teeth and things. And this policeman type thing then shoots Kate because she knows the truth.
Secret, yeah.
But this enrages the love interest, who basically goes on a rampage. Jumps into the helicopter and stuff. It's really, really good.
Cool.
And it's just like at the end of the movie was supposed to be a found footage movie. It isn't.
No.
It's the found footage is right at the very end.
Okay.
So when it was originally advertised, everyone thought it was a found footage movie, a found footage movie, but it's not. It's filmed in kind of like a very low budget documentary-esque. Certain things,
like a faux documentary sort of thing.
And it's filmed in Romania, so you've got like a lot of greys and a lot of kind of white stuff, which really kind of
mockumentary style, I think they call it.
Yeah, blood looks good against white, so that works really well. So you have a bit of kind of filming at the end, and you find out that Kate isn't dead. She's in the hospital telling the truth and stuff. And there's like this the love interest is now got his hair back and he's back being a scientist. And they were saying, there's still killings going on in the area, sort of stuff. He goes, yeah. Talon was never recovered. He's out there doing this and the other. He is a werewolf, so he tells the world that Talon's a werewolf. And
then, the howling.
Yeah, and then kind of smiles at you, like Talon is dead. It's him doing the killing. But watch it. Yeah. I absolutely loved it. Sarah and Amy
sounds great.
Absolutely loved it. It's so different than any other werewolf movie I've ever seen. There's a really good bit, which is it reminds me a little bit of the Hulk. So they chased him into his car park and they shooting him, and he's standing there. He's like his neck's cracking, his shoulders. So he's changing, but he doesn't change as in turn into wolf. He just gets bigger. Yeah. He's in bones snap, and he gets a little bit more kind of agile and sort of stuff. So, and it reminded me of when they're shooting Hulk and he gets bigger. There's that kind of stuff on it. So he's a big hulking fella, and the scene in the hospital is immense. One of the best kind of like mass kind of freakouts I've seen, and it's very much under the radar, and it never ever got released on cinema apart from in Japan.
Okay.
It got released on VOD in America, Canada, and then it eventually came over here as a direct-to-video blockbuster kind of exclusive type thing. Okay, it wasn't blockbuster, and then it's found an audience kind of on DVD, Blu-ray, and kind of on streaming. Right. Like if you look at Amazon, it's got top ratings because the amount of money has been spent on this movie. It was the same amount of money as he spent on the special effects on one scene in Wolfsbane.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's the whole thing.
So yeah, again, they've used that money, like you said, they've used it, done it in a way, and filmed it in a way where they can.
You can forgive bits which look a little bit fake or a little bit kind of. A lot of his practical effects, like when he's cracking and doing this stuff. There's a bit of like you saying, a bit of CGI, but also a bit of practical effects. Sure. Now, I know I've ruined the ending a little bit, but it doesn't matter. The movie is great, and just for those scenes, it's great enough. So I implore you, my friend,
to go watch it.
Go watch.
I actually own that DVD.
I know,
and I still haven't watched it, so I will get on that immediately.
It is great. It's and anyone else who thinks it's a found footage movie, which is the way it's advertised. It really isn't. The found footage is the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, I don't mind found footage, so I'm cool with found footage movies. I think if they're done well, same with werewolf movies. If they're done well, that's fine. But I don't mind a little bit of found footage if that's the case.
And there's werewolf and werewolf fighting as well, which is great.
That's what you want. That's what you want.
But no, it's good. I liked it
Absolutely,
and it surprised me how much I liked it. I thought it was going to be okay, but the pace of it
just had you gripped.
It kind of starts and then finishes. And Jesus Christ.
So that's WER, yeah?
Yes.
WER.
WER.
So
werewolf.
I'm not doing that again. I've done it once. So WER, go see it, go watch it, because I know I will. So the next one for me, you brought up a few things during your discussions of other films, such as directors not being able to finish their film and POV shots. So I'd like to talk about the other 1981 werewolf film that is not An American Werewolf in London, that is not The Howling. It is Wolfsbane. This is a police procedural murder mystery set in 80s New York. Now, this film is actually probably more about current political things that were going on at the time, especially in New York. So things like the urban decay of New York and the crime rate. But it also discusses things like gentrification, racism, the treatment of Native American people within the white patriarchal American society that they live in. This could be made today. The whole film, everything it's dealing with and everything it's talking about could be just made today. Could be remade, shot for shot, word for word. It would still
It's
fit.
sleaziness of New York comes across. It's like
gritty,
dirty, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It's absolutely. But you're also talking about POV shots. So this film, I think, is some of the most sleekest POV shots. The camera is going up and under benches, underneath cars, into sewers, up staircases, seamlessly, like wolf-like, smooth. There's no jerky moments. And also they're using this thermograph vision. So it's all thermal imaging, which went on to be used in Predator. So
way.
Yeah.
Not the one who fights Predator.
Alien versus Predator. The one that fights Predator. Anyway, that's an in-joke no one's going to get.
No one's going to get that.
But actually, I might have mentioned it on the podcast. Who knows? But anyway, so there's all this sort of stuff going on. You've got Albert Finney's in it.
Yeah.
Who's great. His accent's a bit wobbly, as all his accents are, especially in Skyfall. Welcome to Scotland. You're not Scottish.
But he does have
sorry.
the best line. You jumped up, little shit.
Yeah, he is. He does have the best line. He's a great actor, but I think when he's doing an accent, it's not great. It's not his skill. I'll give him that. But he is really good. And you got Gregory Hines in this, who plays again a pathologist, like you were talking about earlier. Another thing that comes into play in this film, and he is the most kind of entertaining, grounded, fun. Just like such a cool guy, just comes across so cool, so likable, so nice, so intelligent as well. And basically the whole idea is this big land magnate gets killed in the centre of New York, and straight away they're like, terrorism. It's got to be terrorism. And it goes down this whole investigation, and all the people are like, it's definitely this Gotterdammerung terrorist cell, and they claim responsibility for it as well, even though they've got nothing to do with it, even though it looks like an animal attack. They're like, because they're like, this guy, the bodyguard they had, who's this huge Haitian guy, has a gun, and he gets his arm cut off before he has a chance to actually fire the gun. So it's like, how can anything human do that? And slowly but surely, Albert Finney comes to the realization that it's not entirely a human being that's doing this. And some really cool, creepy stuff that's going on. And the thing is, because of the way New York was back then, they didn't have to make the sets. They didn't have to go and design stuff or go elsewhere outside of New York to film this. They just went into the heart of the urban decay that was happening
like
at
Warriors.
the time. Like Warriors, exactly, yeah. You just literally, let's just film in New York. Let's go to New York because that's the most authentic way to film that. And it kind of it digs into the kind of Native American mythology of skinwalkers and the wolfen and this sort of idea. Now, some people will probably say it's not technically a werewolf film, technically, but for me it is, because it's basically intelligent wolves that understand like the premise of people like, you know, buying up land and stuff. But it's this race of intelligent wolves that prey on the forgotten people of society, the homeless, the prostitutes, the, you know, all these kind of, the drug dealers, the pimps, all that sort of stuff, which again was rife in New York, which was and it's kind of a commentary on what New York was like at the time. It's got all this cool wolf stuff. There's a great finale on Wall Street, of all places, where all the wolves there's a big pack of wolves. And again, in this film, you know, there's a lot of films that use dogs. It's not like they're not going to use a practical suit or CGI or anything. They just go, it's a dog, and we'll just paint it like a wolf. These were actual wolves, and they had snipers standing by to know if they were to go outside of their lines at any point, they were to be shot dead. Like, that takes absolute fucking balls for the actors and for the director to do that. They get up close and personal with them. They do. They absolutely do, especially in some of those later scenes, some of the earlier scenes. And the stalking, the hunting, and the POV shot. I love a good POV shot. We talked about it before in the slasher stuff, and it really does well. And I think this is the lesser known one, and I think it's probably because the werewolf aspects is kind of, it's not the main focus. It's the kind of this investigation.
It's social commentary, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a social commentary, police procedural, and it's about those kind of issues and you know, social political commentary. It's just great at that, and I think you can definitely get something out of this, even if you don't like werewolf movies, even off into that kind of thing. I think there's a lot to be getting out of this. It's even got our favourite cop from Die Hard in. He plays a very small role in it. So I shot a kid. That guy. Welcome to the party, pal.
Probably deserved it.
But yeah, it's really good. It's very authentic, like you said. It's really gritty.
Great movie.
Lots of fun to be had.
It's very much of that kind of era, like French Connection and all that. Like, it's the city and the town and everything it's set in is a character of its own.
Absolutely. It also went on to inspire a Metallica song, which is Of Wolf and Man, that James Hetfield wrote.
Dun, 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 dun. Back to the meaning of wolf and man.
There you go. Dennis has performed it wonderfully. There is there's a documentary coming out called Uncovering Wolfen, and it is about the making of the film, the not technically finishing of the film, what New York was like at the time, maybe some of the issues they had filming in New York, and all the kind of stuff that was in the script, and it's based on a book as well, and the book is somewhat different from the film. Obviously, it's an adaptation, but there's a lot to like about this. So if you like your paranormal police procedural films, this is one for you. If you like your gritty 80s violent, you know, there's a lot of fun to be had here, a lot to be gotten out of it. Again, if you're looking for those kind of political things and those kind of allegories and stuff, they're there. If you don't want to, also you've got a police drama with some werewolves.
Yeah, and on Netflix at the moment, there's a documentary, 3-part documentary called The Times Square Killer.
Okay.
Torso Killer, which is set around that time. And they talk about Times Square and the kind of ooze of sleaze and crime and people, you know, just going missing and no one knowing where they were. So it's very much like, and then that actually happened, you know. So, you know, watch that as a companion piece, perhaps.
Yeah.
But no, it's a very good documentary, but again, it's very much the kind of murder side of it. Is, again, a lot of police procedures. They're not talking to each other in New Jersey or New York. So, you know, that's why Bundy got away with so much stuff as well.
Well, and that kind of comes to the fore in this one, because they say you're not a hunter. You don't understand the wolf. You can't, you know, all the Native American characters are saying, you'll never get this. And you've got to accept that the rules of man are not the rules of the wolf, and you've got to come to your understanding with the animal and with the beast and stuff, and that comes to the fore as well. It's just a
great movie.
Fucking great movie.
And
I like The Howling. I like American Werewolf in London, but if you've seen them a million times, you probably have. Check out Wolf, and it's really, really solid. Great movie. You got Tom Noonan's in it as well. If you don't know him, he does all sorts. He's Frankenstein and Monster Squad, and he's in Manhunter as well, and all sorts. You'll have seen him. He's in RoboCop 2, one of my favourites. But yeah, that's Wolfen. But I like it. I'm glad Dennis likes it. I think everybody else should see
brilliant.
it.
I think it's not just a good wolf movie; it's a good movie.
It's a good cop movie.
You could put anything else on there, and it would still work.
Exactly. It wouldn't have to be a wolf. You could have a vampire. You could have anything. Wouldn't even necessarily have to be supernatural. It would still be
serial killer, man.
Solid. Yeah, because that's basically how they treat it. I love the kind of the issues with the mayor who's saying, well, it's got to be, we can't tell them it's terrorism, but maybe it is terrorism, maybe it's not terrorism, maybe it's nothing to do with that, what is going on, and they're all, and there's a security group that's investigating it as well, and just all that kind of bullshit bureaucracy as well, just people like all these political agendas really work to make this film really, really effective. So again, not necessarily the most werewolf of werewolf movies, but still a fucking great movie.
I concur.
There we go. What is your number one, Dennis?
Well, I'm not going to talk too much about this one.
Okay.
Because it's readily available on pretty much every streaming service out there, so everyone to go and watch it. But it's Late Phases.
Oh, yes.
2014. Yes. Blind Man versus Werewolves.
Boom. Sold.
That's basically the premise. People are dying in a old people's home. He's not having any of it. He's miserable. He's like me, but blind.
You also a Vietnam veteran?
I flashback. You don't know, man. You weren't there.
I wasn't. I don't think you were either.
No, I was not. But is it Guiding Stakeland?
That is the same guy.
Yeah, thought it was. Yeah.
They age him up though. They make him a lot older than he actually is. Tom Noonan's in that, I think.
It is.
Sure.
Yeah. It's just great.
Yeah.
I don't want to, because if I say anything about it, it's one of those movies that whatever I say will ruin.
Sure.
Will kind of ruin the punchline for stuff.
Yeah,
it's funny in places.
Yeah,
as well.
It's got humour.
Yeah, it's got humour in it. It's got a blind man losing his shit.
Yeah.
And setting traps and things, which is great.
It's kind of like Blind Home Alone with a werewolf.
Yeah.
A little bit like Home Invasion.
The wolves are big white feral bears with big ears.
Even the wolf kind of looks a little bit funny, but obviously it's not treated that way. It's still a threat. And I remember the transformation scene was amazing.
Yeah, it's really good. And you get to see characters before the wolves, and they have the same traits when the wolves as well. So if people's got a scar, they've got a scar. If they've got an eye out, they've got an eye out, that kind of stuff. But I don't want to ruin it too much, because unlike kind of like Where and things like, which I've kind of given the plot away, you can still watch it and enjoy it. I think if I gave away too much of this movie, the surprises you need. Is that, do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. Because it's kind of like, it's a mystery on who is the werewolf.
Yeah, it's a who's done it.
Yeah, it's a who's done it. It's a home invasion. You get everything you need. You get the preparation. You get the mission. It's really good. I almost included it, but since you were including it, I was like, nah. I'll pick something else. And I love it. I bloody love it.
Yeah, I do as well. I think it's brilliant.
It's everything. So original, so unique, so fun. Again, and a really unique design for the werewolf as well. A unique situation, a unique setting as well.
Yeah.
How many horror movies are set in an old people's home?
And it's kind of one of these things that quite a lot of horror werewolf films have as tropes, is that it's quite funny.
Yeah.
American Werewolf in London is funny. Howling is funny. And this is the same sort of thing. He is the grumpiest hero ever. But he's brilliant. The acting, every single person is acting their balls off.
Absolutely.
And the wolves, the transformation is great. Made on a shoestring budget.
I love this. I love the scene where he kind of he lives next door to a lovely old lady, and he's in his room, he's in his building. I think he's not sleeping, he's just awake, and he just hears through the wall the wolf is tearing her apart. He doesn't even know it's a wolf, but you can hear it.
Yeah.
Hears every single.
Puts his hands on the wall.
Here, he literally feels the vibrations, and he's like, he literally might as well be in the same room, and there's nothing he can do. There's nothing he feels he can do. But then after that kind of, he gets that military resolve, and he's going, I'm going to fucking take this thing out, even if it takes me with it, sort of thing. I loved it.
Unlike Daredevil, he's actually blind.
Daredevil is blind, Dennis. We've been over this. Daredevil is actually blind, but he uses his radar sense and other senses to make up for it.
Caught a big fish here. Come on, can we wheel it in?
No. He's not a benefits cheat, Dennis.
Well, how do you know?
Because I know, because it's in the book. It's quite specific that he is actually. He can't see. He can't literally see. He can make after, like, there's an after image or an impression.
Yeah.
But he can't literally see. He can't see the way we do through our optic nerves. He can't use those.
But he can still see.
He can't see. He can't see. He can't see in a literal sense. He can't see in an actual literal sense with his eyes, but he can get a sense of things.
I'll tell you what. If I was in charge of New York, I'd be taking his blue pass off him. All right, that's what I'd be doing.
He can't have his orange parking permit.
Take that off him straight away.
That's gone. That's gone.
I'd be walking past him and kicking his stick.
He shouldn't be driving anyway if he was blind.
Because he can see.
Can't see.
But yeah, late.
Anyway. Late phases.
Yeah, it's readily available. I think it's on Amazon Prime at the moment. It's on Shudder. It's on pretty much everything. I think it's not on Netflix, but it's been on Netflix.
It has been. I saw it on Netflix.
I don't think it's on there at the moment.
Yeah.
But
I think it's called. Is it called? Sometimes it's called Late Phases Cycle of the Werewolf, or something like that.
Yeah. I think
Night of the Werewolf.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's a red cover with a wolf on it.
Yeah, like a howling and everything. You can't miss it. Just Late Phases anyway. I think that's mostly how it's known.
And it's just great. And again, it's the pace of the movie is good.
Action's good.
And there is absolute moments in it where you're like, oh
yeah. When the old lady dies,
and you do feel for him, and you kind of have that same sort of, fuck it, I'm not having this anymore. You've taken stuff from me. I'm gonna fucking do the same thing.
And I know his son keeps kind of visiting him, and they're like, Dad, you're losing your mind. What are you on about? It's PTSD. That's it. You're having PTSD. He's like, no, she got murdered. They're covering it up or whatever and stuff like that. Or, I can't remember it exactly, but he's like, and he's really nice. And even though he's a grumpy bastard, and again, the woman, he could be really rude to the woman, but he's actually really nice to her. And he has a genuine connection. And then when she dies, then that becomes kind of the investigation.
Almost like, missing that person you argue with. Yeah. Missing that kind of stuff when she dies.
You still have a connection.
Yeah. No, it's a great movie. Well acted. Effects are great in it. The wolves look a bit comical, but it fits perfectly in with the mood of the movie. So yes, go and watch it right now. Well, in about 20 minutes when we're finished.
Yeah, we better. You better. I absolutely agree. Won't spoil it, but go out and see it if you haven't already. It's fucking great. It is great. I happily agree with Dennis. Like I said, would have been on my list if I hadn't already chosen it. So my final one. This comes from the writer of The Hitcher. And the director of The Hitcher. It also comes from, he's also the writer of Near Dark, Blue Steel. That's not a Zoolander film, just so you know. Blue Steel. It is Bad Moon from 1996.
Fucking awesome.
It is so fucking cool.
So good.
If you've not seen this film, it is basically about a man who's, I think he's an archaeologist or something like that. Yeah. And he's in Nepal with his girlfriend. They're having sex, of course, because they're having a good day, I guess.
It's Nepal.
Nepal. Nepals. And she gets her nipples out.
We are nutty about nipples here.
Nutty about nipples. Anyway, they're having sex, and then a werewolf rocks up, kills everybody, cuts her in half, and he manages to get his shotty out and blow the werewolf away. Not before getting bitten himself or scratched by the werewolf. So then we travel all the way to, I don't know, it's like Alaska, I think, maybe, or somewhere
with
cold.
Wolves.
It's cold with woods.
Is it not Maine?
Maine? Could be Maine. Wouldn't surprise me. Anyway, his sister and her son, his nephew, are living out their life. They have a lovely German Shepherd who goes by the name of Thor. This film was actually based and adapted from a book called Thor. Same story, but it was told from the perspective of the dog, which I'm glad they didn't do in this, because I don't think I could do that. Him sniffing dogs' butts and, all other sorts of
Back
stuff.
to licking balls again, aren't
Licking ball. We're all about licking balls. And he is very protective of the family. He will attack people, but he's a very caring, loving dog. The uncle comes back into their lives because he gives them a call. Even though he's been back in the States for months, he's been trying to find a way to cure his lycanthropy. And he's at his, literally, he's so desperate. He goes, maybe the love of a good family will solve it. And I was a bit like, okay.
You read Werewolf by Night, haven't you?
Sure. But I guess it comes in, like you were saying earlier, it makes me think of those early ones where it's like the only person that can save you is a loved one from the curse of the werewolf. And this film gets across really well the stress, strain, depression, and burden of being a werewolf more than any other. And again, towards the end, he starts to, like you said, he loses his mind, totally gives in to the wolf, or he just starts to like it, And that is exactly what happens. But it's this slow decline. It's not a long film, like an hour and a half, 80 minutes, something like that.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't think it's even an hour and a half. But it hits all the beats I would want in a werewolf movie. Not only that, the two best actors in it are Michael Paré, who plays the uncle. He's fantastic. He's you can just see every day is just pain. There's just so much pain etched on his face, but then he's also having fun with it as well, and he talks about, and it also does a nice spin on the werewolf because it's every night. It's not every full moon. It's every single night he'll turn into a werewolf. And I like his technique of locking himself up. He's got these silver handcuffs, with a long chain, and he puts himself around like a redwood, doesn't he? Yeah. So the wolf isn't going to be able to climb up that, and it's not going to be able to escape the chains because they're too strong, and it works. The design of the wolf in this is probably my favourite design of any werewolf. It's got this kind of grey-white fur. It's huge. It's got this large snout. It's drooling.
It all moves.
The eyes are great. Yeah. The gore is brilliant as well. Yeah. It's done really well. And then right at the end, you get Thor, the German Shepherd, versus a werewolf. Like, how fucking cool is that?
It is good.
And the best actors, like I was saying, Michael Paré is great in it, but also Primo, who plays the German Shepherd, is acting his fucking tits off. It's brilliant. I was so impressed because a lot of the times it's just like, just wave a little ball in front of the camera and hope for the best with a lot of these things, or just put CGI over their eyes or something and make them look like they're acting. But no, he's absolutely acting his bloody dog tits off. Fantastic. Just all of it. Have you got Mariel Hemingway in there from Superman 4? I think she was in, and a few other things. Probably less to mention. But I just loved it. And again, it's just, for me, pitch perfect what I want. Like I said about the Hulk film, this is what I want in a werewolf film. Just hits every single beat that I want. People get torn to bits. There's one bit where this con man gets shredded, and like literally his face comes off, his fingers come off, his chest comes off. It's all fucking great. There's this bit where the werewolf bites into like a hard hat, just snaps the hard hat and everything. It's just brilliant. There is a few dodgy CGI shots, I will say that. Kind of a little bit
early CGI though, isn't
it? Early CGI, but it's just brilliant. Well tight, well paced, like you were saying about Ware, just excellent. Does everything it needs to do, doesn't outstay its welcome, and then boom, done. You're very satisfied with the end. There's a couple of scenes where I'm like, okay, maybe you could have cut that, edited around that. It's got Dennis the Menace in, if you remember the Dennis the Menace actor from the 90s live action film. He's in it. He's fine. He's there as a child. You also, right at the end, you get a kind of a cool little bad dream about the dog. And again, you get a werewolf dog.
You do.
So again, we've got a lot of links between the two, our 5 films, our sets of films. But yeah, absolutely love it. Is there anything else you want to say about Batman?
I love it.
Yeah.
It's also a big studio production. Warner Brothers distributed it and financed it. Never got released in the cinema.
Shame, absolute shame.
But it's found a cult following on video, and stuff like. I saw it on video, and I same as you. I also like the way that Thor knows something's off with him with
straight away. Yeah,
immediately.
Yeah, he's
straight
like,
away.
I don't like this.
Yeah, every time he comes in, guarding the dog, guarding,
and he gets him sent. He gets him like, even though he's like. What's great is that Michael Perry is so torn throughout the whole film. He's doing these kind of things that are considered evil, but then he loves the family so much, he cares, and you're like, and he must be destroying his mind and tearing him to pieces, tearing him apart, because this is his last opportunity. He's tried literally every other way to cure himself, and his performance is just fantastic. I've not seen him in much. When I saw him in this, I was like, fucking hell, he's
great.
Absolutely delivering it.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, and that antagonism between the dog. And him and just that their connection, they bounce off each other so well.
He knows that he knows.
Yeah,
and it's like piss and sniffing this and not letting the kid near where he's staying and things like that.
Yeah,
I love it. It was going to be on my list.
Yeah,
I absolutely love it. The wolf is probably one of the best wolves. out there.
easily one of my favorites, if not my favorite design.
And the gore and the tearing thing. It doesn't. It's great. Like I said, it hits all the beats that you want from a werewolf. I think it was like £1 million to make.
Probably.
I bet much of that went on the suit.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
The dog, training the dog, because the dog is great.
Yeah, I think there was 2 or 3 other dogs they used as well, but Primo's the one where it's the full face when the acting and everything that comes through. And
it's not often you get a dog versus werewolf, is it like that?
Huh. No,
because he's the hero of the movie. The film
was a hero of the book, and hero of the film.
The movie is about the dog.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the main. He's the hero. He's the protagonist, arguably. Loved it.
Brilliant. Good movie. Good choice.
Go check it out if you haven't already seen Bad Moon.
Good movie.
But yes, so we've still got a lot to cover because we've got all of our listener comments, and also I've got a few more honourable mentions. Do you have any honourable mentions?
Yes. Company of Wolves.
Yes.
Almost made my list.
I like it, but because it's an anthology, there's a couple of the stories that didn't quite do it for me.
Yeah, but I like the changes.
Oh, the transformations are great.
The transformations are great, and it's because it's like a portmanteau, like you said, like an anthology. One story is crap, next one's really good.
Yeah.
So you can kind of have that. I like Trick or Treat.
Yes, again, another anthology.
Scene in that is great. And it's such a good kind of
twist.
Yeah, you think that they're going to be the victims.
Sure, yeah.
But they're actually the predators. Hotel Transylvania. I don't know what happened there.
Just do not mention Adam Sandler on this podcast.
No, it's not about... I like the fact that they've taken the Universal monsters, and I like the fact that the wolf just has hundreds and hundreds of
a litter
of litters and litters of pups, just causing... He looks like fed up all that. He's tired from it all. But yeah, and my last one would be the remake of Wolfman.
Benicio del Toro, Anthony Hopkins, Joe Johnston.
It doesn't get the love that I think it deserves.
Okay.
It's not perfect.
No, absolutely.
But there is just some scenes in it which are absolutely phenomenal. Like when he's running on top of the buildings.
Yeah, that's great. I love that.
When it's almost like the Piccadilly Circus when he drops down and he's slashing his way through people and things like that. I think I really, really like it. And I remember ringing you up and what are we up to? Just finished watching Wolfman. I think it deserves more love there. And Joe Johnston's very good at doing period pieces. I think he's very Rocketeer and stuff like Captain America. I think he's very good at capturing those moments. And again, true love is the thing.
Emily Blunt's in it, and she's fantastic as always. Yeah. She's really good. Anthony Hopkins is hamming it up quite a bit though.
Well, I think he has done everything, hasn't he? Since even Red Dragon.
To be fair though, I really thought he was really hamming it in this one for me.
I think in pretty much everything since Red Dragon he's done. I think Red Dragon was the time when he went right.
Just gonna
I'm gonna ham it up now. I'm gonna be like
maybe.
Look at him in Transformers for F's sake.
I didn't even see that one. So.
God, it's so shite. And then you've got Mission Impossible. It's Mission Impossible.
Not mission difficult.
Not mission difficult. But no, I think the remake of Wolfman doesn't get the love it kind of deserves, and the effects are great. Again, a mixture of CGI
and practical.
And Rick Baker.
Yeah, Rick Baker. He's the man.
Yeah,
he's the go-to guy for werewolf practical effects.
It's beautifully set. You know, the long kind of drawn out images of the surroundings and the village. And
I like the
London.
scene. I like the scene where he's in they put him in the asylum because they think he's a murderer, and then they're like, oh well, he's not a murderer. He's certainly not a werewolf. And obviously it's been a month, so he starts.
and everyone's like, behind you, Professor, behind you. He thinks he's going to be a wolf, but he's not.
No, it's all in his mind. It's all in the mind.
But that's like, the teeth come out. And
I love the way that the teeth kind of protrude, like the underbite. I love that.
But I also like the way he goes on all fours as well.
Yeah.
So he's running and he goes on all fours.
It picks up pace.
I do think it needs, like I say, it's not a perfect movie, which is very rare. A werewolf movie is perfect.
True. Absolutely.
But if you go in there with a bit of an open mind, you're going to get the gore, you're going to get the wolf, you're going to get a good transformation. And to be fair, he's really good and Emily Blunt's really good.
Sure.
And Hugo Weaving's very good as well.
Yeah. I will say, I think wasn't he English? Then he moved to somewhere and then he comes back and he's like, I'm just not English. There's no English accent going on, is there?
No.
It's like, I'm English. Yeah, Hugo Weaving is in it as a policeman, isn't he?
Yes.
So,
officer, do you have a pistol? Yes, give it to me. Why has he not got one?
You are failing.
I give it some love. Go and watch it if you've not seen it.
Cool. Well, my honourable mentions I'm going to go very quickly through. So from this year, Werewolves Within, the murder mystery about a werewolf. I know you weren't that keen on it, Dennis, but I really I enjoyed it, but it didn't quite make my list.
I like the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think the female postwoman. I think she's gorgeous, so that helped. I like the lead in it. I like all the people. Again, it's kind of a little bit like Howl as well. Like everyone's really unlikable, but it's very much steers into the comedy. It's technically a video game adaptation, so I guess it's
Fargo with wolves.
Kind of, yeah. So there's a little bit of that. Also, The Beast Must Die, which has the same
great movie,
same basic concept. The only reason I didn't really include it is because the werewolf is just a dog.
It is a dog,
unfortunately, but it's got this blaxploitation vibe. It's I believe it's an Amicus. I want to say
Amicus,
I think it's Amicus. Peter Cushion's in that as well, and he's like a. Again, kind of a scientist again going, oh, the wolf.
And he was a deer stalker very well.
He does. And I love that the whole idea of having hairy hands is one of the implications that you might be a werewolf. So you and me both, Dennis, could easily be werewolves, I think.
To go back to a subject, I do like licking my balls.
Dennis, I don't even know how to react to all this ball licking. All this bollocks you're talking because you've licked so much balls.
It's like a joke that most people have heard. Like my dad would say, the dog would be in the front room cleaning itself, and he would turn to me and goes, "Dennis, do you wish you could do that?" And I'll go, "Don't know." He goes, "Give him a biscuit, he might let you." Continue.
Anyway, so Beast Must Die is also on my list.
Great movie.
From 1974. Wolf with Jack Nicholson, who we've mentioned quite well.
Almost made my list.
Yeah, third act is a bit weird for me. The pacing is a bit weird. I think it starts strong and it builds.
It doesn't know what to be.
Yeah,
and that's my problem with it. I think that's the problem why it didn't do as well either. You've got all these really good
big actors
and stuff in it,
because it's effectively a B movie, but with A-list talent.
And Jack Nicholson's brilliant in it.
Yeah,
pissing on people's shoes. What's not to love?
Exactly.
But I think it doesn't know whether to be serious.
It's finding that balance.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is because of the acting. I think if you had lots of unnamed actors.
There's a great line in it where it's like, the worm has turned and it's packing an Uzi. That's one of my favourite lines ever in cinema.
It's great, I love it.
Yeah, definitely check that one out. It's got James Spader in it, Michelle Pfeiffer, Christopher Plummer's in it as well, many other people, so give that a go. Wolf Guy with the dearly departed Sonny Chiba, which is kind of a superhero Japanese film. It's on Arrow. If you've got the Arrow app, Arrow video app, check that out. It's fun. It's very different. It's not a typical werewolf movie, but there's some fun to be had there if you're looking for a kind of crazy mad Japanese kind of superhero thing. Teen Wolf, obviously, Michael J. Fox, 1985.
Teen Wolf, the TV series.
The actual one.
That's going to be. I'm sorry, Amy. I promised I'd say this.
Okay.
Amy's made me sit through 3 seasons of Teen Wolf.
Oh God.
And now I'm actually enjoying it.
Oh, okay.
I think it's very good. And plus, Derek, who now plays Superman, is a muffin.
He's a muffin. He's fit.
He makes me question my life choices.
Fair enough. He's a good-looking man.
And there are really good elements, and there is some gory scenes in it as well, but it's nothing like Teen Wolf with him in, but I promised I'd mention it because Amy absolutely loves it.
Fair enough. Next up is Full Eclipse. This is my final one. Full Eclipse, which is basically superhero werewolves fight crime. Vigilante werewolves. You've got Bruce Payne, Patsy Kensit, and Mario Van Peebles. All teaming up, and they're in this kind of... Because initially it kind of starts off, they're not real. They kind of got these Wolverine claws that come out of their knuckles, and they've got the eyes and the ears and the fangs and a little bit of hair. Again, like a bit like Wolf with Jack Nicholson, not too much. But then in the end, Bruce Payne becomes the villain, and he's like, "I've not got any weaknesses under a full eclipse." Bomb, bomb, bomb. It turns into a massive werewolf, and it's just a big fight, crime fighting, superhero. Proper action, proper 90s action, fun.
That's his nipples.
Cheesy. Yep, there's Patsy Kensit is somewhat nude in it, I believe, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, I think she does it in pretty much all the films. I think it's in a contract.
Probably. Who knows? But yeah, so if you're looking for your cheesy action cop, but with a werewolf superhero twist.
Derek's always getting his nipples out.
Oh, okay.
He spends the opening credits of Teen Wolf. He's got no shirt on.
You've got to stop talking. It's weird. It's getting weird now. You're talking about Derek and his nipples. And his Nepals.
Sorry.
He's got big, large...
Why is it weird?
Nepals.
Does my sexuality scare you?
No. I'm just... It's my own that scares me.
What's he called anyway? What's his real name?
I don't know.
Play Superman.
I don't know. Google it. I've got other stuff to be getting on with, Dennis. You do that. Anyway, listener comments. So we're going for Twitter first. So Max Byrne at Maxi Byrne says his top 5 werewolf movies are Dog Soldiers, American Werewolf in London, Teen Wolf, The Company of Wolves, and 1941's The Wolfman. So
all strong,
very good choices, I think. Next up, you've got John Hammond. So that's at John Hammond 73. So his are An American Werewolf in London, Wolf, Silver Bullet, Ginger Snaps, and The Howling. So it's all the kind of ones we've decided not to mention. There he is, Tyler Hochlin. Hochlin?
Look at that.
Yeah, I can see him.
Sorry.
It's okay. He's showing me a topless photo of that actor who plays Superman.
I am married and I have
He
a
is
child.
married. Yes. Anyway, so yeah, we've avoided speaking about a lot of these, but they're all amazing shouts because they just are amazing werewolf films. So I cannot disagree with all of those. Our friend Paul Meller got his top 5 in. So he says, so that's Paul Meller at The Meller Geek. So number 1 is Wolf. Number 2, Silver Bullet. Number 3, American Werewolf in London. Number 4, Dog Soldiers. And 5, The Howling. So
we spoke about Silver Bullet on the
we did,
Stephen
yeah,
King, didn't we?
Yeah. So we didn't decide to talk about Silver Bullet on this because
it's a good movie.
It is really, really.
It's about
good.
the only one that we kind of all agreed that we liked.
Yeah, we were like, I think we all like that one. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. But yeah, that's good. Another good selection, Paul. Again, the same ones keep cropping up, so this is why we've gone.
Yeah.
We've dug a little deeper just to find the ones you haven't seen. But these are all amazing choices. And normally, if we were just doing a top 5, most of these would be on
American
it.
Werewolf would be number 1 for
Boom,
me.
there you go. Yeah, and all of these would be in consideration,
Yes.
especially.
Yeah, very much so.
Let's see. So Rhea Carrigan, so former guest again, at Rhea Carrigan on Twitter, says Ginger Snaps.
Ginger Snaps is awesome.
That's it, Ginger Snaps. And again, would have talked about Ginger
it's a
Snaps.
movie.
Would definitely be on my top 5, if not number 1, at least number 2. But again, I've covered it on a previous podcast, so that is why I'm not talking about it now. But I fucking love it. And again, I've mentioned it earlier today.
Mum is excellent.
Oh, she's great. It's all good.
Yeah,
it's
brilliant.
all very, very good.
Superb movie.
Next up is her brother at I Am Jack's Musings. He says the films featuring werewolves most worth howling about are Teen Wolf, An American Werewolf in London, Brotherhood of the Wolf, Dog Soldiers, and What We Do in the Shadows. It's not. I'd argue it's more of a vampire film, but yeah. That's why we've kind of gone for the ones that are truly focused on werewolves.
Good movie.
Great movie, amazing. I'm looking forward to their series. We Are Werewolves, or We're Werewolves, or We're Wolves.
I don't like Teen Wolf.
No, oh, I like Teen Wolf. I even like the urban legend about the guy getting his knob out at the end.
Yeah,
I even like that.
I think I don't like it because when he's running and he's a wolf, because the one he just stuck bits of out, you can see his legs through the hair and it looks weird.
Okay.
Anyway,
it's all right. It's to each their own.
plus no one dies.
Everyone's got to die. We've got to die.
I do like the director though.
Yeah.
What is this?
I like it. Anyway, we're gonna.
No Wolfie, no Pat. Sorry,
That's okay.
God, I do like it.
So what we do in the shadows, I'm salivating at the prospect of watching Werewolves Within, though now 2. It's available on Netflix. So Jax is also looking forward to seeing with Werewolves Within. I liked it. It's not amazing, but I like it.
I think I was expecting more, and that's my problem. I'd read so much about it.
Yeah, that you were like...
And I saw it almost straight away since it came out. I was a little bit kind of...
I saw a few reviews, and they weren't the kindest.
I don't think the comedy hits as well as I think it could have.
As it could do, yeah. No, I think it's good. I think it's good. So, moving on to Instagram. So, at Dan's Photo, so that's Dan Burgess, former guest and friend, and slightly okay magician, as we talked about before. He said he wants slightly average or slightly, what did we say? Slightly acceptable, slightly... unoffensive magician, whatever we said. He said, I'm going to put that on my business card. So he's gone slightly less obvious ones. Dog Soldiers, Howl, which I've mentioned, obviously, Ginger Snaps, Late Phases, and Wolfen. But he's also added a 6th.
Okay.
And he's also said, and Silver Bullet.
You can always rely on Dan, can't you?
Yeah. And again, he's going for some of the ones that we've picked, so he knows his stuff. And then Alan Carnes has said, Silver Bullet, In the Company of Wolves, Late Phases, Ginger Snaps, and Howling 3. And I believe I might have another one. Let me just go back to my Instagram and see if it's still there.
I've seen Howling 3 in ages. I think it's on Prime.
Don't think I ever saw it. Oh, someone said Mike _R_ stag commented and just said, Bubba the Redneck Werewolf. So that's what he recommends. So that is all the listener comments. So that's us done, Dennis. So that was good. Yeah, I enjoyed that. I hope everyone now has some werewolf films to go see that they haven't already seen.
And it's good that most of them are readily available as well. That you can just, if you want to watch them now, you could just go and watch them.
Yeah, or you can rent them, you can buy them. You know, they're all, even Attack of the Werewolves, which I struggle to find, is still on iTunes. It's still available. Again, a lot of these you can rent on YouTube as well, or on Amazon, or like I said, iTunes, Apple TV. But yeah, I've really enjoyed this. It was a nice palate cleanser after we did Werewolf by Night. But again, we didn't hate it. We just thought it could have been better. And I think these films definitely lived up to the hype. Again, they're not perfect, a lot of the films we've mentioned.
I think if you got 100 werewolf movies, I would say at least half of them would be shit.
Oh yeah, I'd say more. I'd say
I think
60 to 70%. I'd say
they're either
probably shit.
really good or really bad. I don't think there's, it's okay.
Yeah, and there's a few I've not included, and there's a few more I could mention, but I just didn't light my world on fire particularly. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. The wolves are great in that.
Yeah. Again, not particularly the focus, but I'm glad we've gone for ones that are very specifically just about werewolves.
Wolven is a good one.
Wolven is a good one, yeah.
I think it's a really good one.
I think Wolverine is great. But yeah, that's all good. So, Dennis, are you back on the social medias at all? No?
Guess what?
No. I didn't think so.
It's a toxic, horrible place.
It is.
Which upsets me a lot.
However, I have also had good experiences, but I've also had negative experience. But all the people on Twitter and on Instagram that I've interacted with have been bloody lovely. I've not had any hate or any bullshit or... There's discussion, sometimes a very heated discussion, but it's all very good and all coming from a good place.
I am glad that you have those experiences, living your best life.
I try to live my best life through all my filters. That's what all my Snapchats are for.
I wasn't generalising saying that. No. Facebook's all toxic. No. It's just, I just don't need that shit.
Fair enough. I absolutely agree with you. There's a lot of that where, to be honest, I think if anything, I would probably come off Facebook before I came off the other two. At this point, I think.
Yeah, I think Instagram. I was saying to you about doing Instagram as I could promote the podcast and things. I think I'll end up doing a bit of Instagram, maybe a bit of Twitter.
Sure.
But I don't want the dialogue. I don't want to talk to people.
Fair enough. You probably would get some messages, though, going, hey, promote yourself, do this. Because I do get that sometimes.
I have to promote myself because I'm already awesome.
You've already been promoted. Yes. So you can find me on Facebook at Secret Bores. Twitter is at Dan_Bores. Instagram is at SpiderDanSecretBores. Like, share, comment, subscribe, etc. Don't forget to use the hashtag PrepareForPrattle when you interact with us. For everything else you need to know about the podcast, swing over to SpiderDan and thesecretbores.com on the World Wide Web. I'd like to thank my patrons on Patreon. I am Jack's Music. Musings, Paul Meller, Max Byrne, Tony Farina, Scott Hodgson, and Simon Cotton for their continuing donations. It is very much appreciated and it helps Prattle World keep on turning. And if you ever find yourself in a position to help the podcast, please consider it. And happy 2022. We're in the future.
I would like to thank you, Dan.
Oh, why?
Because you thank everybody else all the time.
I do.
Okay?
It's polite.
It is. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you having me on it.
Obviously.
I love it. You know that.
Love you, Dennis. Love you, Dennis.
Thank you. Thanks.
You're not going to say it back?
No, I'm going to bum you later.
Fine. I guess that's a fair trade.
Yeah. No, but seriously, you thank everybody, but you're the one who puts the editing work in this. You're the one who puts the stuff together. We do stuff together and things, but you are the driving force behind that, and I'm glad that I'm just a snippet and I'll get involved in it. You're
just a snippet.
Just a slither.
You're a big part. You're one of my favourite and go-to people. You're always available and you're always happy, and that's a really good thing. And it's hard to just have this. Like, this is face-to-face contact nowadays, so this is really hard to kind of get. So I do appreciate you. I always have a good time. I think we're always talking about such interesting, unique topics and stuff. And I'm hoping that, like last year, I loved it. Again, I made a few resolutions that I didn't get round to, but this year I'm hoping to get round to a few of them that I promised last year.
What my New Year's resolution is this year?
Is to be more of a twat. I remember.
Is to tell more people to fuck off.
That as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that comes in parcel.
But seriously, Dan, take more credit.
I will.
I know you find it a bit like me, find it difficult sometimes to get the credit.
Sure.
But, you wouldn't have all these people listening. You wouldn't have people paying to do this and the other.
Absolutely.
If it wasn't worth listening to.
There you go.
So,
there you go.
Don't say anything else. Thank you, Dan. And it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.